Alright, what's up everyone? Today we got a very special battle. Yesterday I got to play MTGXerxes for the first time, which is very important to me because I've been watching his videos since 2009, and he basically taught me how to play Pokemon and taught me a bunch of cool sets and a whole different perspective on the game. So I felt that it was very appropriate to start the video off this way, because I've had a lot of fun with his intros in the past. So we're going to play rock, paper, scissors. Xerxes, if you're watching, you know the rules. We're going to do 3 throws. We throw on the 4th count. So, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. And rock, paper, scissors, shoot. How'd you do? Okay, so this is my battle versus MTGXerxes. He leads off with, I think we have to dumb this down even really slower, but, I'm gonna reset it. Okay, so he leads off with Bronzong, and, well, really slow is a little too slow, but I have a Zelf. Obviously, I can't touch him in any way, so I just, zoom out and go into Spiritomb. I watched Xerxes' narration on this, and he goes for Gyro Ball, which is what I was afraid of, which Spiritomb takes very well. I guess my Spiritomb is actually Iron Ball, so we were probably at the same speed when he did that, and that did literally nothing even after crit. So Xerxes switches out because he's fearing Taunt, and I actually trick him my Iron Ball. His reaction to this was pretty funny. I thought he'd get a kick out of it. So now his DiGiorno is completely useless. I got exactly what I wanted, which was Iron Ball and a Levitate, potentially fast guy. So now he's vulnerable to Earthquake or some other stuff. I switch out because I'm not really afraid of anything he can do at that point. He could have obviously immediately tricked back, but I wasn't too afraid. So I go into Swampert, he goes back into Bronzong, and from there we trade Stealth Rocks, which is perfectly fine. I'm still not too afraid of anything right here, so I go back into Spiritomb, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, I am sorry, slow is still pretty slow. So I go into Spiritomb here. Now, I'm obviously Choice Scarf, and he doesn't want to take... he goes into Celebi to counter my Swampert, and obviously he doesn't want to have Celebi receive the Choice Scarf. But that's not really my plan at all. What I'm going to do here is Dark Pulse, because there's no real way Celebi can touch me. So I fire off a Dark Pulse, which does a lot to Rotom Frost. So Xerxes here actually forgot that Rotom is Ghost typing this gen, so he's completely walled out by Spiritomb. So from here he goes into Abomasnow to bring in Hail on turn 7 of his Hail team, which is better late than never, right? So I'm still not really scared. I'm Scarfed. I don't really feel threatened at all, so I fire off another Dark Pulse. I was thinking he could have Blizzarded. I don't think he's as threatened as I am either. Or I don't think... I lost my train of thought, sorry. I'm not really threatened by him, but what I think Xerxes should have done here was subbed and set up Leech Seed. And the Protect was a little too obvious, so I did go into a Zelf, I think, but I was afraid that he would pick Blizzard because obviously there's nothing Spiritomb can do against Sprinkles, and I'm not really interested in giving him my hit points either, so I used this opportunity to go into a Zelf, and he flubs, I guess you could say he flubs the Protect? Yeah, sure. So it's still not terrible for him. He's going to get hit points back, and he can verify one of my moves. So I take this opportunity to show him Flamethrower and really, give this battle some gas, put some pressure on. So I do my flamethrower. At this point, I don't know who he was going to switch to. If he had a heat-proof Bronzong, I don't know how much I would have done, honestly. But he opts to go to Starmie in this case. And I think I still do a pretty decent chunk. I think I put him at like 50% or something, which is a lot. So, any minute now. Yeah. Well, okay, not 50, maybe like 55. So after Rocks, Flamethrower, and Hail, he's going to be sitting at a little over half, which is fine. I'm still at an advantage. I really don't want him to Rapid Spin if he can, so I go into Spiritomb to block / potentially die so I get switch advantage, because I really want the extra 25% on a Abomasnow when he comes back in. And I really thought he would want to keep a Abomasnow around, because obviously I've shown him Swampert so far, and you know, Swampert can't really touch a Abomasnow. So at this point, I bring a Zelf back in because, spoilers, I'm Scarfed. And Xerxes says it's interesting that I bring him back in because I have no way to know that he's not Scarfed. So, you know, it's funny that we're both, like, calling each other's bluffs, I guess. So, I don't want to pick Flamethrower, I don't want to pick Energy Ball, so I pick Thunderbolt, which is going to be neutral, if not do okay to everyone else. I get a crit here, which is kind of lame. So I do 70%, and I would have done 35. So, had I not gotten the crit, I would have had no problem throwing away Swampert to take the blow, whether or not he lived or died, because Swampert is pretty much least valuable player on this team so far after I've seen Celebi and Abomasnow, and Swampert doesn't really beat Starmie or Rotom or Bronzong really that well, regardless of whether or not he has a Levitate or Heat Proof. So he decides to save Bronzong for fodder later. I fire off my second T-Bolt because I don't want to give him the chance to explode. He goes into Celebi. I didn't want to go into Swampert just in case he wanted to Energy Ball or maybe even do Leaf Storm. So I throw in Starmie just because I don't know, I thought Starmie could take either of those options better. But he does decide to Thunder Wave me, which is perfectly fine. I'm still not absolutely threatened by this thing now that I see it's the Thunder Wave, probably recover some other moves sets. So I decide to stay in and try and get a Rapid Spin off. He shows me Grass Knot, which does 45%, so he'd need the same roll to kill me the next turn, which he totally could have done. Most probably, but now that I know he has Grass Knot and not Energy Ball, I feel completely okay going into a Zelf, because a Zelf weighs literally nothing and is going to take absolutely nothing from a Grass Knot. So once the animation finally finishes, any day now. Alright, so I bring in a Zelf, I take 20% from a crit. Doesn't really matter much, really. What it really meant is that I can't stand for one extra turn after this one. So I'm left at 5% after Hail, which is pretty close call. I forget what move I pick here. I think I picked Flamethrower. And this is where he decides to sacrifice Bronzong, I think. Yep, so Bronzong is absolutely dead. Maya Zelf is dead, so right here, I felt very confident that he was going to bring in a Grass type or maybe Rotom, because it's virtually useless to him, and he would want to let Rotom go so he could have switch advantage on whatever I brought in. So I know I needed to bring in something fast, and here's where everything falls into plan. I gotta bring in Weavile, which checks everything I've seen so far. So I take Stealth Rock damage, which doesn't really matter. He brings in Rotom Frost. So here I get a Night Slash, and Weavile kind of covers every option from here on out. He he was thinking I was gonna Swords Dance, but there's no no way I would have let let this Rotom get away with potentially tricking me back Iron Ball on Weevil. So I Night Slash. I don't show him what my item is. I'm obviously not Life Orb. He calls GG right here, which is it's appropriate, I guess. I have Low Kick, which covers Abomasnow. Night Slash defeats what do you call it? Starmie and Celebi. And his 6th dude, which is Dragonite, is susceptible to Ice Shard, which is Weevil did everything I hoped it would accomplish right here. It's very unfortunate that Bronzong didn't play more of a role in this game, because had he kept him alive, he would have totally walled my Weavile. But he did want to get rid of his Elf and some other things. He had to trade Bronzong. So Ice Shard defeats Dragonite, and Ice Punch beats Celebi. I guess I can put this back in normal right now. Ice Punch beats Celebi too, and finally, last but not least, there's Starmie, who dies to Night Slash. So that's game. Xerxes, thank you very much for letting me play you on stream. I feel very lucky that I got to come in on stream when there were only 20 people watching, so I had a chance to play you, and I really appreciate it. Thanks. I hope you watched and maybe enjoyed the commentary and found my thought process interesting. So thanks. Catch you later.